Hi everyone, I'm Russ.
I'm Mark.
And this is a spirited endeavor.
Priming the Pump edition, sort of.
Ish.
Ish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
strong-ish.
Yeah, adjacent,
Yes.
so to speak.
Ish adjacent.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some whiskeys that were, I think, might be good gifts.
Yeah, so it's that time of year again, folks, and it's time for that discussion. So if you happen to have a whiskey lover in your life, or perhaps yourself, because look, I mean, we have to love ourselves. There is such a thing as self-love, and I do encourage that. We have some gift ideas here for you.
Yeah, we really do. So we're going to start off with a couple of gifts that would be great for folks that are, you don't know what to get them. They might be into Scotch. They might be into whiskey. They might be into bourbon. You're not really sure. So we got a couple of safe choices here, and then we got a couple of choices on here that are really for for someone who's maybe into it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think we've got something here for everybody. Now, not everything we're going to talk about is on this table. However, I would say the vast majority are. Yeah. Where do we want to start on this one?
All right. Well, I think we start with kind of the entry level, and that would be the Bruichladdich.
Yeah, by all means.
The classic Laddie.
And I'm hesitant to say that calling it entry level is almost a disservice, but at the price point, look, if you've got somebody that's into Scotch, the bang for the buck on this one is just ridiculous.
And it's an Islay, but without the smoke and without the peat, and it's just a solid whiskey. It's one of our favorites, and one that really kind of pulled us further into the whole whiskey scene, actually.
Yeah, I think this was the one that probably did the most to change our view of Scotch. Again, for the money, the amount of depth and the flavors that you get out of this without being off-putting, it's just really good. Really complex for the money, too.
It really is. Now, what's cool about it is, I mean, it's pretty relatively available. I mean, you can pick it up pretty much anywhere.
And finding it's not a problem because it certainly stands out on the shelf.
I know, it's a beautiful presentation. I mean, the color on that is gorgeous. You get that, bright teal. The bottle itself is similarly colored.
Yeah.
And this is just a fine whiskey, and one that, if you don't know what to get somebody, like Scotch, this is probably a good place to start.
No, absolutely. Even somebody that's moving over from a blend would be comfortable with this, I think.
Yeah, there's nothing off-putting in it. Yeah. It's got a nice smoothness, a nice richness to it.
Yeah.
It's the Bruichladdich distillery is one that we've given a lot of love over the last couple of years.
Yep.
Because we really like what they do, and how they kind of give back, and how the materials that they use, where they source all their grains,
and you can do a deep dive on this one. So again, if you've got somebody that's even remotely into Scotch and you give them this, that's number one. It's a good brand name. It's a good name. But the other thing is there's a code on each bottle. And if you've got somebody that's kind of a whiskey nerd or just becoming a whiskey nerd, they can run that code on the website for Bruichladdich and see exactly what went into making that, which is really neat.
It really is. I mean, and they'll tell you the grain they used and how long they aged the barrels, what type of wood they used. Yeah. It's fabulous.
Absolutely.
One of our favorites. High recommend.
Absolutely. So where do we go from there?
Well, I think we talk about Johnnie Walker.
I'm down with that. So we're still with Scotch then?
We're still with Scotch, yeah. Yeah, we'll move over to a couple of bourbons in a moment. Mm-hmm. But certainly the green label.
Oh, man.
Now, a lot of folks are hung up on Johnnie Walker Black. I mean, it is a staple whiskey. It's one of the most popular whiskeys in the world.
Yeah, we think highly of it. I mean, we've reviewed it a couple times now and enjoyed it each time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one that kind of surprises you, the Black. I always expect to kind of go in it going, my palate has, evolved past this, but it hasn't.
No.
Not even a little bit.
This, however,
but
and there's a big but there.
So this is aged 15 years. It's got some Islay in it. It's got some Speyside. It is a fun whiskey.
And what makes this one unique compared to a lot of the other Johnnie Walkers is the fact this is a blended malt. This isn't a blended Scotch like most of the others. The difference is with a blended Scotch, you can have grain whiskeys like corn, so on and so forth. This one's all malt, but it's from various distilleries, so you can't call it a single malt. But yeah, this is a very unique animal and reasonably priced too.
Reasonably priced. I think it's around $70 a bottle.
Yeah, depending upon where you go, it's anywhere between 50 and 70 is
Right.
my understanding. It really depends on the market. But this is kind of the next step up, and it's a hell of a step.
Yeah, and just locally here, I've seen it for both. I think I paid about 60 for this one.
Yeah.
So somewhere around there, and I thought it was a good whiskey for that money.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I will say this one does have some peat and some smoke going on, although it's not super strong. It's definitely present. So that's something to bear in mind.
Yeah, it's for folks that like Islays and strong peaty, they're going to find something to love in this.
Yeah.
Because it's actually got some of the Isla on there. Now, but someone coming into this is maybe a good stepping stone for them to go into something that's a little peatier, a little smokier.
Yeah, it's definitely not quite as peaty or smoky as like a Lagavulin or an Ardbeg or a Lafroig, but it's moving in that direction, but it's definitely a couple rungs down on the ladder compared to that.
Yeah, relatively available.
Yeah.
I found it in some of the larger liquor stores, not so much in the smaller ones. So they're, it's worth taking a look. Looks like we're gonna have a visitor.
Yeah, we've got our mooches joined us.
All right.
All right.
So let's go to some bourbons.
I agree.
All right. So now let's talk about Chattanooga for a second.
Yes, good idea.
Now it's one that we don't have here, but but Chattanooga is one that we've fallen deeply in love with.
Yeah, the bottle's at my house and it's probably about half empty at this point. And yeah, so Chattanooga, they've got a 111, which that's the proof on it, and obviously Chattanooga gives you an idea of the locale. So if you're in the southeast, you're probably not going to have a hard time finding it. Now, elsewhere in the country, this may be one that's a little tougher to come by. If you have a bourbon lover in your life and you can find this on the shelf, you need to buy this for them. It is bang for the buck, probably one of my favorite bourbons out there. I think you would be inclined to agree with that one. But it's, reasonably priced, $60 generally, somewhere in that ballpark. But the amount of flavor. Now, what's unique about that one is the mash bill's a little different. So they have barley, they've got corn, the usual suspects, but the way they've processed them brings kind of a nice, I don't want to say smoke, but a depth, a richness that goes with it that just, again, bang for the buck, it's tough to beat.
Yeah, it really is. It's a fabulous whiskey. Yeah. Anyone who's into bourbons would just not, would not object to this one at all.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a safe bet.
It's going to be it's a safe bet. It's delicious. It's going to be something that I'm sure they're going to love it.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they didn't. Now, they do have a 94 proof version of it. If you want to go for something a little less expensive, I think the 94 proof is in the $40 range. I don't think, now we haven't tried that one because again, we hit the 111 and that just kind of at that point we're like, yeah, that's the one.
Isn't it?
But I've heard good things about the 94. It's just obviously going to be, the flavors are tamed down just a little bit. But the price is as well. So depending upon where they are in their whiskey journey, if they're fairly new to bourbon, maybe the 94 is the direction to go.
Yeah, I agree with that.
If they're really into bourbon, I'd go the 111.
All right. Yeah, that's a solid choice. Okay, so I want to get into the 3-chord. Now, the 3-chord is a fun whiskey. Now, this is a celebrity whiskey. Mm-hmm. So this is Neil Giraldo, Pat Benatar.
Pat Benatar.
Pat Benatar.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah, he's married to Pat Benatar, and they created this 3-chord whiskey. So let me read this to you. So introducing Strange Collaboration, our unique bourbon blend finished in Pinot Noir casks, from the Strange Family Vineyards of Santa Rita, California. Complex red fruit on the nose, cherry, currant, fresh strawberries, and raspberries. Flavor starts with a notes of Pinot Noir, followed by oak, spice, and vanilla. And this is an alliance of that embodies quality, respect, authenticity, and a partnership that embraces family and friends. So, and I think we recently reviewed this one, and we really liked it.
I agree, and by nature, I'm skeptical as soon as I see there's celebrity involvement. A lot of times it's gimmicky, and you take a lesser grade whiskey, you slap somebody's name on it, and you charge a higher price. That is clearly not the case with this one. There's a lot going on in that bottle, and my understanding is that's actually pretty available across the U.S.
Yeah, I found it in several locations locally, and it's reasonably priced. I think it was somewhere around $55 for the bottle.
Yeah, and based on what's in there, that's a hell of a price for that.
Yeah, it really is. Now, this is the Pinot Noir cask. Now, they have one that's a straight bourbon, and that one is also pretty readily available. In fact, that may be more available.
Yeah.
But that's a solid whiskey as well.
Yeah, no, really tasty one. Would definitely recommend it for a bourbon lover in your life. Or yourself.
Yeah. The best gifts to give are the ones that you like.
That's right.
All right. Okay, so then we're going to move over to Wild Turkey.
Yeah.
This one surprised us. We literally just did a review on this one.
Yeah, I mean, like literally, it's still on my breath at this point.
So this one really surprised us. Now, this is also another celebrity whiskey. This is Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And they partnered up with a distiller, and they put out this whiskey. Now, it's really interesting because it's finished in oak, but also in mesquite.
Yeah.
This one has been aged for 8 years. It's got an age statement, and it was fabulous whiskey.
Yeah, and the thing that I think blew both of our minds, this is a 43% ABV bottle, but the flavors that are in there are just amazing. And the mesquite brings a really neat woody note in addition to a really good oak flavor. Thoroughly impressed.
Yeah. Now, I'm unsure how available this one is. I found it in one of my local stores, and but it was a high recommend from a friend of mine who's got a very discerning bourbon palate, and she gave this a strong recommend, and I trust her.
Yeah, and she's not wrong. I can say based on our experience, she is definitely not wrong. It is a very good whiskey. If you can find it, that would be a really cool gift for a bourbon lover in your life.
It really is, and the celebrity aspect of it's kind of fun, and it's worth it in this case.
Yeah, agreed.
So I think I paid $70 for that bottle.
I think that's perfectly reasonable for what you're getting.
Yeah, it's a nice gift for someone. And certainly someone who's a bourbon lover, I think will find a lot to dig in this one.
Yeah, it's a nice looking bottle too. It looks good on the shelf.
Yeah. Very good.
All right. Onward and upward.
All right, onward and upward. So.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know.
This is the one.
This is the one. So if I had to give any one gift this year, well, it would be the Highland Park Cask Strength.
Yeah, that one right there.
This one right here.
That one.
Yeah, this is unbelievably good. It is my favorite Highland Park.
Yeah.
Now, we've tried a lot of Highland Park.
A lot of Highland Park.
And some of the higher age statements too, 18 year, and then going down from there. I don't think we've gone beyond the 18 year at this point.
No.
But certainly the cask strength, if you can find it. Now, I found this one online. I was able to find it through Cask Cartel.
Mm-hmm.
And it was about $100 for the bottle, and this is a really, really good whiskey.
It is. Now I can say availability-wise, I've actually found it in 2 places locally, that's a fairly recent thing because earlier you couldn't get this at all.
Yes.
This is one that would change people's opinions of Highland Park.
I think so.
If you get the 12 year, the 12 year is nice. It's really a good entry level whiskey for somebody who's just kind of getting into Scotch and maybe even getting into island whiskeys. This, however, what ABV does is evident in that bottle.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, Highland Park sometimes gets a little bad rap because of the number of, you know, gimmicky, you know, Viking themed,
Yeah.
you know, whiskeys that they put out there. You know, it's you know, and I get it. Certainly, you know, between like the Magnus and the Valknut and the Valkyrie and the Odin and the, you know, Loki, and
there's a
I mean,
bunch.
and it just goes on and on
But
and
we've
on.
had good results with them, I
We
will
have.
say. But this, however, is just like, that's a whole nother level there.
Yeah. Now this one does not have an age statement to it.
It also does not have chill filtration or color added. So this is pretty much as it came out of the barrel. And I think that was what, 50 something percent?
57.
Yeah, I want to say it's high 50s.
Let me see if I can
It's
grab
stout,
it here.
but the thing is, it actually handles it really well.
63.3%.
Okay, we were way
We were
off
way
on that.
off.
But again, it handles it really
handles
well.
it well. Yeah. Yeah, you would think that it's a much lower proof than what it is.
Yeah.
And talk about an easy sipper. Talk about something that's just flavorful and complex.
Yes.
You know, it's going to invite you in. It's going to be everything that you love about Highland Park, and then it's going to just put all that through the roof.
Crank it up to 11.
Exactly.
And the cool thing for me with this one is you get the island nature, so you do get some of the peat, you get a little bit of smoke to it, but you get some nice fruit notes that are just the ABV. It's the distillate. Thoroughly impressed. Really hope they come out with more of them. But in the meantime, I would have to agree with you. This is a staple. If you get a Scotch lover in your life, that's a really good direction to go. They are, yeah. That's enough said. That's just fantastic.
All right, now. All right, so if you really, really love somebody that's into whiskey, there are many ways you can go with that. One of the more interesting things that I've gotten into was Flaviar. Now, it was a $300 subscription for a year, and quarterly they send you a tasting box like this one here, and this is their Flaviar welcome box. And if you pull the tab here, there's a coaster that comes with each one of those, and then it puts out these little discs that tell you a little bit about each whiskey that's in this. It's a 50 milliliter bottle, I believe. 50 milliliter bottle. And this one had this is their entry level box, their welcome box, and it's got a Breckenridge bourbon, few rye whiskey, and Wolfburn, which is a Scotch. And that's a single malt Highland Scotch. And so it gives you this little tasting vial, and then you also can choose a full-size bottle quarterly.
That's cool.
And those range between like $40 and $50. So you know, you do the math on that. So
but oftentimes you've been able to get stuff through them that you haven't been able to get elsewhere.
that is also true.
Which is huge.
Yeah, they have a big online store. And then you can go and you can just buy from them. You know, the shipping is free as long as you're a member. And they also have a vault that opens up a few times a year. And in that vault, we'll have some like allocated whiskeys.
Yeah.
You know, you can get that old Fitzgerald, 13 year. You can get that. You're going to pay a little bit. You're going to pay for that. But they're not exactly MSRP in the vault.
Yeah.
But you can get some pretty interesting stuff there.
Well, you've had new releases from different distilleries that you were able to get through them that you couldn't get elsewhere.
That is true. Westward being one of them.
Yep.
So they're a distillery that we found and we love. They're out of Portland.
Yeah.
You can only buy in Portland. I think they're opening up some other markets, but they haven't made it out here to Georgia.
Yeah. Distribution is still a bit lacking, but Mark was able to find one through these guys and got it delivered to his door.
Absolutely. So and they were exclusive to them. So sometimes they do a bunch of exclusives with this club. It's worth checking out. It's a Flaviar, Flaviar, and it really is for anyone who's got a whiskey lover on there. You want to do something special for them. you know, a subscription like that will let them choose a bunch of whiskeys.
Yeah,
you can try a bunch of stuff out.
And you can customize it, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So you can actually tell them what this person's into, and they'll pick whiskeys that are kind of in that realm, which is kind of nice. So you're not going to throw something at them that perhaps they're not into. And I've got to say, I mean, looking at it, the presentation is really nice. The cylinders that they ship these in and the little glass vials are just really cool looking. So it's a nice, well put together package.
Absolutely, and we're going to actually try the Wolf Burn here. So, so they send this little disc. Let me see. So they send this little disc here, and what it does, it gives you all the flavor notes here. So vanilla, smoky, nutty, dark chocolate, dried fruit, peaty. And they give you a little bit of information about it. So it's a Northland Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, 40% ABV. And if you like this, then you're not commit. You know, you can try these whiskeys out.
Yeah.
You don't have to commit to a full size bottle, which is really nice, because sometimes it's really hard to find smaller, like nippy bottles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's find the Wolf Burn here. So this is C. And E, B, and C. Here we go.
Cool.
Cool. And it's a 50 milliliter size, so I mean, it's a nice.
No, it's a good sample size.
It's a good sample size. Two nice little samples there.
Yeah.
And that is a very light
That
colored
really
whiskey.
is. That is pale. Makes me think there is no color added on this one. If
No.
there is any color added, it's not much.
And 46% ABV, so it's got a nice,
Reasonable.
reasonable whiskey. It's got some beautiful oils to it.
Wow. Yeah, it does. Holy cow. Yeah, the legs on that are nice.
Oh yeah, I mean I could smell it from back here. Oh man, that's got a nice little nose to it.
Yeah, it does.
A little peaty, a little smoky.
I caught like a little whiff of like a fruit note that I can't quite figure out. Just a hint.
I think it's like an apricot, you know, something light like that.
I agree. It is definitely light.
And but man, that has got a nice smokiness and I almost said pokiness.
Might have that too.
All right. Well,
Interesting.
Cheers.
Cheers.
oh, I like that. That's got a beautiful smoke and peat to it. Nice little oakiness in there. Sweet.
Wow.
That's sweet.
That's the part that really got me on that. Yeah, so smoky peaty, but that sweetness is really nice there.
But like a fruit sweetness,
Yeah.
like a pineapple.
Yeah, pineapple. You're
Pineapple.
absolutely right. I'm not getting pineapple on the nose, but on the
But I'm
palate, I
definitely
would
getting on the
agree.
palate.
Second sip's even better.
Got a nice little
Holy
spice
crap.
to it. Oh, that is a fabulous whiskey.
That's almost got like that little citric bite on the side of the tongue too.
Oh yeah, it kind of gets you around the sides, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's fabulous whiskey.
Ooh, I dig that. I might have to find a bottle of that somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. I think
wonder
we're gonna have to find a bottle.
Wow. Son of a bitch.
I know, right?
That's the thing. Damn.
All right.
It just keeps getting better. Well, everyone, I hope you had a good time, and I hope you learned something, and maybe you find a gift idea for a family member or friend.
Yeah, I hope so. We certainly enjoyed presenting these to you tonight.
Yeah, and hope to catch you on our next episode.
All right, we'll catch you then.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.